Hello guys! Today I want to show you how you can refute the Latvian gambit. And it is e4, e5, knight to f3 and pawn to f5. Now this is not considered a very good gambit for black, but in reality it is one of the few openings that actually scores better for black after the pawn to e4 and e5 opening. The reason is that there are many traps that black can play for, and if white is not careful enough, they might fall for it. So in this video I want to show you how you can turn the tables around and make your opponent blunder on move 5, probably. And the move that I recommend here is pawn to d4. So this is known as the Mason counter gambit, and basically you are creating this big tension in the center, and of course by far the two most played moves are these and these captures, but only one of them is correct. And in my previous video I talked about the wrong capture, which is pawn captures on d4, and how you can follow it up with a crazy line where you get to sacrifice both of your knights to get a position where it's either forced checkmate for white, or they find the only move which grants them a draw. So I'll leave a description link in the below. I will leave a link in the description below for you to check it out. But today I want to talk about the correct move, which is f captures on e4. So after this capture, let me tell you, almost everybody in this position plays knight captures on e5. And I suppose black players are going to be comfortable with this, and they will be prepared, and they will play like knight to f6. So you will try to go bishop to c4 to get some pressure here, but you will get easily countered by pawn to d5, and things will get out of your hands quickly. And that's why I here recommend maybe a little bit of a counterintuitive move, but I recommend to go backwards with your knight, and knight f goes to d2. And the reason is, if you check out the Lichess database, in this position the four most played moves here are blunders or mistakes by black. Because here, well, first of all, e captures on d4 is the most played move, which is like one of the worst moves that they can play here. But then knight to f6, the second most played move, is also a blunder, it doesn't work. Then pawn to d5 is kind of playable, but they will be bone clouding their king. And then the fourth most played move is pawn to e3, which also doesn't work and will get you into a winning position. So let's check out these highlighted moves one by one, and let me show you how you can punish these. So let's start with the e captures on d4. This one is pretty straightforward. It's just queen to h5 check and it's done. They can either move their king, which is worse, or they can block this with their g-pawn and lose their rook. So if they move their king, here you are going to go queen to e5 check. They are forced to go to f7, and here you can even let your bishop join the game with a check, and this is pretty much curtains closed. And if they block it with the g-pawn, then of course you are still going to go queen to e5 check, and after they block it you are going to be winning the rook for free. And here just remember this follow-up, because they are most likely to go knight to f6. Here you have only one correct move to maintain the big advantage, and that is knight to b3. And not just to harass this pawn, but you also want to free this bishop to come to g5 to pin this knight, and well, you are going to win by trading pieces, and you know you will be up rook. Alright, let's go back. So that was e captures on d4. Now the second most played move is knight to f6. So here first you want to capture the pawn on e5, harassing their knight, and in this position the best response from black is to push e3 to create a counter attack on our knight. But nobody seems to be playing this, everybody seems to be moving their knight somewhere. So these two squares, it's pretty much a free knight. So knight goes to d5, looks nice, but here you want to capture the pawn on e4, and this is now a discovered attack on their knight. So, well, in most cases they are going to save their knight by playing c6, but this is not very good. After bishop to c4, this position is like +7 for white. And if they play like a better move, and that is knight to b6, well, you can here play this hilarious move, knight to f6 check, and I dare you to capture my knight. Well, if they do capture your knight, here comes the queen to h5 check. Now this check is unblockable, so their king needs to go to e7. And here you are going to capture this with the check. They are not able to capture with the king because of bishop to g5 winning the queen. So they would have to go further down the board to e6. And now, well, any move is winning, but probably just developing your light square bishop and getting castled afterwards will make sure that you win this game, because, well, it doesn't matter that you are down a piece. You will be just developing with the tempo. All of your pieces will join the attack in the near future, and their pieces are just going to be stuck in the back rank. And there is also another hilarious line. If they don't capture the knight on f6, and well, in that case they would have to like move their king. And here you can even play, amongst other moves, you can go bishop to c4 check. It's like, please just grab one of my pieces. Just do it. Well, and if they do, then it's this check, and the engine is saying something like repeat moves for a little and then capture this knight, and well, it's still winning for white no matter what black does. Feel free to analyze those lines in the Leach's study. Now let's go back and let's discuss the third most played move, and that is pawn to d5. So the engine is claiming that this move is playable for black, but it's still going to be tricky. We are going to continue with queen to h5 check once again. And of course they cannot block this check because of these old tactics. So they need to move their king, which is pretty uncomfortable for them. And it also makes difference where they move their king. Because if they go king to e7, this is once again winning for white. We have another crazy move, knight captures on e4. They cannot capture our knight because bishop to g5 check, and if they wish to preserve their queen, they need to block it with their knight, and now d captures on e5, and we are going to be winning our piece back, maintaining tons of pressure, having a better development, and also our king will be castled in the future. Alright, and what if they go king to d7? Well, that is the correct move, and well, here I will recommend you to go queen to f7 check. Simply because here they once again have an opportunity to go wrong, because only knight blocks the check is the correct move. If they block it with either their bishop or the queen, they are going to be hanging this pawn. So that's the reason why blocking with the knight is better for them. And well, once we get to capture this pawn, now it's a check. They need to either move their king or block this check. But in either case, we are going to be able to capture this pawn. And in the future, also this pawn is going to be falling. And we will get a 2-pawn advantage, which should be enough for us to win the game. Alright, let's go back. Now let's talk about the fourth most played move, which is pawn to e3. Well, here we are once again going to go queen to h5 check. Moving their king is going to cost them much more material than losing their rook like this. So this is what they should do, and give up their rook. But in exchange, they are going to be grabbing our knight with a check. So this is going to be a little bit tricky for us. We need to first of all capture this pawn, of course, and here they are going to go for knight to f6. Now the best move for us to avoid any knight harassments is to slide our king back to d1, and here, like, the only move for black is to go knight to g4. So of course with this they are pressuring the f2 pawn, and we are going to cover this with bishop to e3. And well, nobody has ever reached this position on lichess, but I just assume they would capture the bishop, and after we recapture, well, our pawn is hanging. But it's a big blunder to capture this pawn, and we can immediately surprise our opponent with the move bishop to b5. Not check, because it usually is a check, but there's a pawn. And this is a multi-purpose move. Well, first of all, it blocks the d-pawn, it cannot move forward, and then it creates the opportunity for us to go rook to e1 and, you know, secure this file. And there is nothing good that black can do about these threats. They like moving their queen somewhere to protect it and move it away from the e-file is not going to be helpful, because, well, our rook goes to the e-file anyways, and their king kind of cannot abandon this square. They are just toasted. It's like +8 or +9 or maybe even more. So totally winning for white. And well, if they don't fall for this, then still this position is like much better for white, and life will go on. We will play chess. Alright, so that would conclude this pawn to e3 line. Let's go all the way back and let me explain what is the correct move after we played this refutation of knight f to d2. Well, what is their only hopes in this position is actually to develop their queen first. And they should go like queen to h4. After which we would respond g3, and they would go back, and we would try to keep the center closed and win by developing our pieces and not blundering and stuff like that. But do you want to know how many people played queen to h4? It's like 1% of the games included this move. Alright guys, so I think that's it for today's video. Make sure to check out the lichess study for any lines that weren't covered in this one, and well, just analyze on your own. Anyways, have fun, take care, and bye.